You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality. Built to hunt.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Union 0430 podcast. This is episode 228. And this is a pretty exciting show. Yeah, 228, Harry. This is a pretty exciting show, and we'll get into all the details, but we met Harry Avrith and his team while we were at the Toronto Sportsman Show. Actually, Philly got the introduction on the go because he's out bumming around like Philly normally does.
Social butterfly.
But social butterfly. But we'll get more into Harry and his business here just in a second. But before we kick off, I do have to take a moment to thank our sponsors of First Light, Real Geese, and Ducklander Calls, who make this show possible. And of course, the voice of the Union 0430 podcast, Captain Jeff Coates from Pit Boss Waterfowl out of Maryland, United States of America. Harry, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Damien. Thank you, Phil, for having me. This is an honor, and actually my first podcast ever.
Broke your cherry.
Oh,
I feel like I'm on a Joe Rogan podcast here.
Yeah,
this is
manage your expectations, bud.
Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome, bud. No, like you really are welcome, and I don't want that to sound as though, yeah, you're welcome for coming on the show because, you know, we reached out to you, right? So really, like, it should be us thanking you for coming on our show, really, because, and it was really Phil, because last night we were just chatting and we were like, well, what are we going to do tomorrow for a show and stuff like this? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, what do you guys want to do? And that's when Philly was like, have you talked to Harry? I was like, no, I haven't talked to him since like the Toronto Sportsman Show. So he was like, okay, I'm going to message him right now and get this squared away. So yeah, man, I really do appreciate it. And we'll get into why I appreciate it, because I know how busy you are, and Philly, I know you've been chomping at the bit to talk to Harry ever since Toronto. So, you know, we'll be going back and forth on that. But before we get into it too much, I've got to, I got to gauge everybody's interest that's listening on if they would pay money for me to have an OnlyFans page, because I'm not joking, Philly. Remember the truck? Well, the truck spent 6 hours on the ramp today, still not fixed. And I just cannot afford a brand new pickup truck right now. So therefore, if anybody wants to subscribe to my OnlyFans page, I'll be showing pictures of my feet. And
it's $5 to get a photo, 25 to not.
Yeah, no doubt. Harry, buddy, I know before we hit the record button, I was sort of kind of picking your brain because I know you guys have been busy, right? Especially coming straight out of the Toronto Sportsman Show. You came out of the Toronto Sportsman Show, hit the ground running, and I was picking your brain just how busy you guys are. And I got to admit, I knew you were busy, but I didn't think you were that busy.
For sure. Yeah, like I said, we created a monster, and it has us busy, has us going, but it's super fun because I'm working with my friends. If you didn't know already, but our Nature Tracks consists of basically our hunting group, our hunting team, which is myself, Julian, Spiros, and Daphne. So the four of us, we regularly go hunting together. That's where, you know, all the innovations and ideas were born. And so every day is fun. It's a lot of work, but to have buddies there to share the grief and
Yeah.
and to just like shoot the shit with and go over problems, it's like a breath of fresh air coming from like corporate world.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's a lot of freedom in a lot of laughs and freedom and just fun. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster.
There's so much, like just that 2 minutes that you were talking, there's so many questions that's bouncing around in my head right now that I want to ask. And Philly, it's the same deal as any other week, buddy. Just jump in and cut me off, because once I get going, I'm good. But the thing that really jumped out to me in your opening speech, Harry, was the fact that you said, you're a group of friends, a bunch of hunting friends, and that's and your hunting group, and that's where the innovation sort of came from. And that's such a true statement. With everybody that we've met in 228 episodes of this show, it's always an idea that is brought to light while you're hunting. It's never when you're at home or whatever. It's usually when you're with your buddies and you're like, man, somebody should do this. And I have to say, because we really haven't even gotten into it, exactly what your brand is. So your brand is Nature Tracks, and I know for the people that are listening, they're like, oh shit, Damien's going to actually talk about something other than duck hunting, and I will. And the reason why I'm going to talk about something other than duck hunting is because it ties into duck hunting, and Nature Tracks. When Philly found them at the Toronto Sportsman Show, it's exactly and Harry will get into it, but it's a cover for your boot to cover your scent when you're hunting big game.
That's right.
The thing that got us, or got Philly and I, really interested was some of the other products that they're doing, but we'll let Harry talk about that. So for the majority of duck hunters, and I'm not going to speak for everybody, but for the majority, they're also big game hunters of some sort, right? So this is why we want to be able to pull this in. And a very, very special reason is because you're a Canadian company operating out of Quebec, and that means that's pretty special to us. So that's a little bit of the backstory that I should have done before, but so I guess, Harry, the first thing before we get going too far, and we've got to backtrack, tell us about the idea of Nature Tracks, what it does, what's special about it, and then we'll just roll from there, buddy.
All right. I think I just want to build on what you said, because it's funny. I was on my first moose hunt ever, right? And every night when we'd come back from our unsuccessful moose hunt day, right, we'd gather around the table and, we start drinking and eating dinner. And one of our favorite things to do was just come up with these like ridiculous inventions.
Yeah.
And I remember like the first idea we had was actually called crack stick, because when you're walking through the woods, you have to like break sticks and whatnot. I said, oh, what if you have a reusable stick and it makes the perfect sound and it's called crack stick? And we were, going on, we were thinking that was a legitimate idea for it. Thank God it's not.
I don't want to stop you, but you laugh, but I bet you somebody else thought about that too.
Yeah. So it was a few hunting trips where, we always trying to think of like these little innovations. And one, it was that moose hunting trip. I came back from it, and I'm a relatively new hunter. I mean, I've been hunting for maybe 5-6 years. I was into fishing before, and it was these guys that brought me out onto the hunts. And my background, my background's in shoes. I was a shoe developer for about almost 15 years. I was designing shoes and manufacturing and being in China quite often. So I was I was really used to, the whole buying process.
Right.
And so any ideas we had, I was like, I can do it. I can make this happen. Anyways, we came back from that moose hunt, and obviously I didn't have the right footwear with me. I was just wearing like my Crazy Horse leather Timberlands, which were my brand new boots. I love those boots. They're just like these gorgeous new Crazy Horse, sleek oiled Timberlands. And obviously they got destroyed in the first day.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I had to spray. We were spraying moose urine and anise all over our boots, like for our to help cover our scent.
Yeah.
Which I found really ineffective, right? Especially because they're my brand new boots, and every day I'm putting this anise gel all over my brand new boots, and I remember walking into my office after the moose hunt, and I saw those little hospital covers.
Yeah.
Right, because it was in the fall, and our office makes them put them over our boots, and just like right away it clicked. I said, well, what if we had something like this for hunting, right? Where it was like you can cover your boot. It would not only cover your scent, but like we can scent infuse this cover. So right away, like the idea started clicking, and we'd bought, a few packs of these shoe covers. We were trying all these different ways to infuse them. I was contacting like scientific laboratories and perfume companies, seeing if they would do like a doe urine, and just like going down the rabbit hole in such a wrong direction. But it wasn't all for nothing. Eventually I'm like searching on Amazon and trying to see what's out there. And I found so many. I actually brought one of the first samples we had bought. This was one of the first.
Oh my goodness.
Which is like a diaper for your boots. We just went through so many I'm talking like 20 different samples.
I bet.
But the problem with fabric, it couldn't hold any kind of scents. Like originally we were working with natural vanilla.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fabric wouldn't hold the vanilla, and then obviously it would rip after, we'd go camping with it or we'd take it to a hunt, it would rip right away. And then I'd found these rubber shoe covers. And I said, okay, this actually might work. They waterproof your boot, right? They obviously completely mask your odor just as is, because it's all made of rubber, right? Yeah. So any kind of gas you have on your boot when you're ATVing to your blind spot, you might not think, but you have that little smell. Yeah. That rubber should do a good job of covering. And then I reached out to one of my old factory guys that I used to work with shoes, and he was really the most technical shoe guy that I knew. He was making these sort of like waterproof and 3M 200 gram Cinsulate type of winter boots for me. And he had found a way to actually impregnate the rubber in like so he mixed the natural vanilla extract with the rubber and then inject it into the mold. And so we got our first sample and we were like, oh my gosh, this thing reeks of vanilla, and it's like, it worked, Yeah. Of course, the first version we got, it had no tread on it. So it was super slippery. There were all sorts of like little issues. Right. But after about I would say 9 months, like a baby, of just working with it, going back and forth, we finally sort of perfected this product. And we hadn't really tested it yet, right? But we on paper, it looks great. We immediately patented it. We went through the patent registration, just everything, got ourselves set up. And then we ordered, I think it was 100 samples. And with those, we started going on a lot of hunts. a lot of waterfowl hunts and deer hunts. We gave it to a lot of our friends who were guides in Quebec, guys like Chasse-Pêche 2.0, guy Serge, also Ian Campeau, great bear and waterfowl guide. We were giving it to them to do testing for us, like give it to their clients to do testing. And it was actually our guide, Ian, who had come up with the anise scent. He said, oh, the vanilla is good. Maybe for bear because they like this sweet sort of smell. Maybe for deer, but they might get spooked from the vanilla. So you should do an anise, like they love it, right? And so we were able to source anise extract, and that was it. It was off to the races. I mean, we had proof from our guides, right? They all loved it. They said this is like a game changer. We spoke to, just a ton of hunters, especially in our first trade shows. Just getting feedback from the general public was so strong, and that just gave us the confidence to really go for it, buy quantity, even though we didn't have orders from retailers, and just take this like huge risk. And thank God it's working, it's paying off, and it's a great product. I use it all the time. Our guides use it. We have a ton of orders, a ton of clients. We have repeat clients. So things are sweet, and now we're expanding the line with more waterproof type innovative products. I feel like I just rambled on for like 20 minutes there.
Buddy, that is the best, because the more time I'm not talking, the better the show is going to be. I can promise
Everyone's
you that.
heard Damien's
Philly,
voice.
did you need to jump in? Yeah. Philly, do you want to jump in there, buddy?
Well, as the saying goes, right? Like, necessity is the mother of invention, right? And I definitely say you guys like nailed it. Like, obviously, I was checking out the product and stuff at the Sportsman show. It's just like something so unbelievably unique and like never done. Like, who would have ever thought,
really,
like a simple slip-on booty to cover your scent? Because like you look at these, like it's obviously a lot more so with like the archery guys. Because I used to archery hunt deer for a little bit, so I was into like all this like fancy scent-free clothing, covering myself in like deer piss and whatever. Oh, just it was brutal. But like that was the thing. Like you're always spraying your boots, and then those boots stink. Whereas like the covers,
and then your car
slip
stinks.
them. Yeah, you slip them on, you slip them off, you throw them back in like a Ziploc bag. You're done. Right.
My thing with the whole boot thing, I'm not a deer hunter, so I don't do this spraying boots and stuff. But I can tell you that after 20 years in the Army, I spend money on boots. Like, I do not cheap out on my footwear. And if I'm spending $400, $500 on a pair of boots, the last thing I want to do is spraying it with doe urine and all this stuff. Because and it's not because I'm uppity or anything like that. I just think that stuff will break down the material of my boot, at $400 or $500 a pop, I don't want
That's
to
a tough pill to swallow.
happen. Well, I would much rather have a booty over my boot. And I wanted to get into this with you, Harry, is because it's a rubber booty. It's not and I can remember talking to you at the Toronto Sportsman show, and I asked you, I was like, like, are these a one-time use and then toss it away? And you told me, like, you use yours like 4 and 5 times. Like, you get 4 or 5 trips out of a pair.
Yeah. No, they're durable. We had heard, like, we'd spoken to so many people at these shows. I mean, literally you speak to thousands and thousands of people. And I thought that was the best experience, because you're talking to like real, like, it's such a niche hunting in a sense, because you're talking to people who really care about their gear.
That's right.
They, especially like deer hunters, you get to do it once a year, right? So they're very particular and set in their ways. And so we just got so many opinions and so much good feedback. There were people that, they tie like a mop to the back of their pants and dip that in the dough
Yeah, like
urine, and so it trails
the
behind them,
drag.
like crazy. Yeah, it's these crazy concepts.
I've never heard that before in my
And there
life.
was one guy, I believe his name is Michel Terrien. He's just like he's like the god of moose hunting in Quebec. I don't know. He's just some
Yeah, I've heard the name.
legend,
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, I used to steal hospital shoe covers and put them over my boots.
Yeah.
And he's like, this fucking idea. He's like, this is fantastic, right? And so to hear it from like those guys, that adds weight, and that just gave us a lot of confidence. And I kind of want to just show you just how silly these things reek, by the way.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, because they're, like I said, they're infused with the natural oil, right?
Right.
But this is how simple it is. Of course, it's not so simple because we've impregnated it with, the natural extracts.
Yeah.
But like just to put that tread on, like, and I don't know if you can see it here, but we've had to reinforce the base area with that took a lot of testing, right? That took a lot of broken pairs because the ones we got just out of the factory were too thin, so we had to reinforce them. But these things, they stretch like crazy. We have all the sizes, but almost any size fits any boot type of thing.
Right.
And I'm just so happy that it panned out to be like a good quality product, right? Because it's all kind of in the air until you actually take it out and people buy it. And like, I think we've sold almost several thousand pairs now, and we've had like 3 returns,
That's pretty good percentage right there.
It's like, it's crazy. So that was a blessing, because you
Harry,
never know,
Harry, how many pairs are it? Like when you buy a pack, is it a single pair or is it 2 pairs in a pack?
Yeah, it's a single.
It's a
so
single.
You get
pair.
1 pair.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then how much are they selling for 1 pair Canadian?
$19.99.
Oh my God.
But you get 10% off your first order online. And I have a special promo code for your listeners.
Oh,
that's cool. Hey, and so that's awesome. So $19.95 Canadian, American, that's like you're giving
like
them
$6.
away. If for our American for our American friends that are listening, listen, don't pay attention to that imaginary line that separates both countries, because your dollar, you could probably just buy a pair just for the sake of buying a pair, with the exchange rate right now. So that's if somebody, how can I put this? I try to make this show as educational as possible and in many different aspects. And if somebody was on the verge of having an idea and wanting to see it come to production, I think the way you've spoke about this process up to this point is a very, very good idea for anybody that's new to the world. So just on the samples alone, like you saying, like 100 different samples. And the thing that people don't realize is that you still have to pay for the samples. Every time you got to do a sample, it's another $30. It's another $100 just to get that sample redone. Right. And you guys did all the samples, got to where you were happy as a team. And then you pushed it out to what we'll call the experts, the fellas that are actually going to wear it and wear it day in, day out, and not baby it, really, right?
Yeah. In hindsight, I would say, like talking as like an entrepreneur, we didn't anticipate the amount of costs, right?
Right.
We're lucky. We're 4 guys.
Yep.
3 guys, 1 girl.
Yeah.
That all have all have jobs on the side, right?
Yep.
And we were able to pool together to afford this and take that risk like together.
Yeah.
But definitely there were times when we said, oh shoot, like this better work out, right? Because we've dropped quite a few dollars on this idea. It definitely helped knowing the right manufacturer. I mean, you can go to almost any supplier. You can try to go to Alibaba, whatever, things like this. But it, quality control, having somebody to give you the right payment terms, right? I had a relationship with this factory for over 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
So I was able to get a lot of favors that way. We were able to get really favorable, payment terms. Even to this day, I think, the $19.99, which is a wow price, right? We wanted to give a fair price for a product, right? We didn't want to be like a rip-off price,
Right.
but I can tell you the margins are so low that it's like, we're going to have to sell a lot of shoe covers, right? And that was one of the first things, when we met our distribution company, right? These guys, R2S Outdoors, great guys. The first thing they said, they're like, are you sure about this price point? Like, you're not going to be making much money. But when we did our market research, we went to the scent eliminator sections of Sale, Cabela's. We saw everything was like all the sprays, your bottle of scent eliminator spray was $19.99.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't want to be more expensive than that, right? We still want to. And so that was really important. But like, a lot of costs come up in starting business that, it's scary. You really do. It does have to work. Otherwise,
Well, it's like that's a new
Yeah,
business. Like you're not making any money for the first couple of years.
there's no salary. Yeah.
Like you better have a full-time job already.
Yeah.
That and I would think, a very good point, Phil. But then, Harry, you had said like you guys had to assume a fair amount of risk on this too, right? Because hey, this is something. I know people. I know people that think that it's a simple product. Oh, that's so simple. Like that's crazy that it's so simple. Yeah, he got his inspiration from the hospital booties. Yeah, it's a simple product, but bringing the product to market is not a simple task.
Definitely not. Definitely not. The packaging design, the store displays, the social media aspect, everything from making the shipping instructions for the factory, the logistics, then working with the customs, the duties, just a lot of grown up things that you get thrown into, but I personally loved it because it became this challenge, and I'm doing it with my friends, and we were learning so much about business. You might have I had a job before, and I was maybe a buyer, and so I knew one aspect of the business. But now we see like sort of everything, right? And we get to experience everything, and a lot of it's first time. Like my first time working with lawyers, to tell you the truth, right? To do like a partnership agreement, things like that. So it's a lot, but if you have fun with it, you have a good attitude, and you see it through, it's worth it, in my opinion.
Harry, like I said before, I'm not sure how much you've listened to this show, but we've spent about 20 minutes longer talking about big game hunting than what I normally do. And I know Phil, Merck, and Craig sometimes laugh at me when I shut it down. But I did want to pull it into why it really grabbed our attention, and not taking anything away from nature tracks and the booties and stuff. But when Phil came back to the booth, we were at the Toronto Sportsman's Show.
Yeah.
Phil went out,
Actually
and
got
he's out doing a social
tags hanging right there.
Yeah. He was doing his social butterfly stuff and chatting with people, and he came back to the booth and he was like, "Hey, we got to go down and talk to these guys." And not that I was cocky or uppity or anything like that. It was just it was such a busy weekend, and I was like, "Who are these guys? What are they all about?" And Phil's just giving me the rundown of them. I was like, "Whoa, hold on, they're Canadian, and they're in this outdoor space." I was like, "Yeah, let's go down and chat with them." And when we went down, and it was you and Spiros that we had really spoken with. When you go on your website and it
Yeah.
breaks down the team, and there's a blurb on Spiros where it says he's enthusiastic and he loves to talk and he's this ball of energy, and I'm paraphrasing a
And he's
little
got
bit,
great taste in
and I'm
watches.
like,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, dude, what? Like,
Spears is a legend.
he's a salesman, right? Like
Oh man, I'm so happy I'm partnered with Spiros. He's like a dad for the because we're just a bunch of young bucks, and then we have Spiros who keeps us in line. But he was actually, I met Spiros. He was my gun instructor. He got me my gun license.
Yeah.
Right. And then on my first hunt, my first big game hunt with my other partner Julian. He goes, yeah, we're hunting with this guy Spiros, and I'm sitting, we have like a debriefing before we go on the hunt, and we're at this like bar restaurant, and this guy is just like the commander in chief. He has like an itinerary. He's fucking like just so organized. I was like, what the fuck? Like, are we going to war?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? And it was Spear, and then I was like, man, I recognize this guy, and he was my gun instructor, but he's so passionate. He knows. He's the most experienced hunter on the team, and he just so detailed. No, like when we were developing like our gun cases, our waterproof floatable gun cases, things like that. There's no one better than to have like this gun expert on your side who knows all the dimensions, knows, he's bought every gun case under the sun, and so like, it's just it's great to have people who know what they're talking about on your team. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that brings us into the point, so now, you guys have done, you got involved with Nature Track, you got the booties squared away, you got the packaging, it's in stores, you're selling. Yeah, there's still more work to be done. But like any good entrepreneur, startup business, you never settle, right? So you're always looking for the next, thing. And this is where, and I remember telling you, like, when I'm out west guiding, like, we don't have room in the truck for our gear. All our gear's got to stay on the back deck, and we don't even have boxes on the truck. It's just a flat deck on the truck, and everything is sort of kind of strapped down and the whole bit, right? And I remember looking at your bags and saying, this is what I need out west. I need to be able to put my shit in a bag and then take a ratchet strap through it and just cinch that down on the back deck and not worry about it breaking, falling apart, or water getting into it, right? And that was the sell, and that was the bags. And then I noticed the floating shotgun case, and then I was like, now you've got my attention. And that's when that was what I think, Phil, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that's what drew you in.
That was definitely
right?
The case was definitely the initial eye catcher, but it was more so another bag that you guys had,
right?
That would kind of like sort of double as like a blind bag for waterfowl hunters, just because of the size and design and stuff. So like, I got digging into that and like asking questions.
5 liter.
Like, what does this do and how does this operate? Like, what's the size and what's the inside like? Like, just start like, for lack of a better term, like tearing it apart, like just going through it bit by bit, because that's what I do and whatever. So,
oh shit, yeah.
I
believe it's a 25 liter that you were talking about, which is such a good value for
can you guys
$90. So these have ATV straps, like that you can attach them to your motorbike or your ATV. It's a roll top bag, so fully waterproof. It's got an exhaust so you can let out the humidity. They all come with silica gel packs inside. They've got pockets on the inside, on the outside, and they're just super stylish. But this is a great value, $90, because we're trying to be price competitive, and just like the Yeti bags, for example, which were really similar. Or if I could say, a lot of our inspirations came from like American brands and things that we just couldn't find in Canada, like
Right.
the floating, the waterproof floating shotgun bag, like we just couldn't find it in Canada. We're searching the web. We had to import it. I finally found one from one brand. I had ordered it. It was 189 American. I then had to pay $50 in duties,
Right.
and like another $50 in transport, right? And that's American dollars. It came out to like $300, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So here we are cutting it in half. Giving like you don't have to import it from the U.S. It's here in Canada.
That's
And
right.
I think we're actually one of the only ones on the market now with the waterproof floatable gun case, and we're using the same floating material as the life vests. So
Oh,
this
okay.
one's pretty hot. We flew in our first shipment, because we got a bunch of orders from our retail partners and from the pre-orders online, and we didn't want to disappoint. So we flew in about a third or a quarter of the merchandise, which was super expensive. Like, we don't make any money, but we were like, all right, doesn't matter. At least we'll be on time.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of delays at the port. So the rest of the merchandise is probably going to come around mid July, but tomorrow we're receiving all of these bags that you're seeing. We're receiving a small quantity that we're going to have available online starting tomorrow. We're going to be able to ship them out as of Monday, and that's really exciting.
And right now you can pre-order as well, right?
Right. So if you pre-order, we were expecting this to come end of June, but the fact that the moment we decided to fly it in, it took 5 days. So we were like, oh shit, like, here we go.
Here
We're in
we go.
business. So yeah, all this is going to be arriving tomorrow.
No,
Pretty excited.
I bet you are pretty excited, and so you should be, because I don't know, man. Like, it's everybody, every business person, every brand, that they want to say, well, this is it, this is the product. I like how you brought up the fact that you took your inspiration from a ton of different products, right? And things that you couldn't, that were available in other countries, weren't available here in Canada, or even if it was, well, I like what this brand does, but I don't like what this one does, and you pick and choose the good things that you like. To me, when I don't know, I've never been a fly on the wall in any of your meetings, but the sense I get is that, hey, listen, we're going to make money, but we're just going to play the long game. We're not.
Yeah.
We don't care about making tomorrow. We're more interested in the long game, and so pricing things competitively, because listen, man, like, if you look around right now in the hunting stuff, and especially with all the tariffs and everything that's going on geopolitical right now, man, hunting gear is expensive right
Everything is
now.
going up in
And
price, but the paycheck.
everything is going up but the paycheck, and if you can get a quality product priced competitively, the consumer wins, and in the long run, the business will win, because they've created a name for themselves and they've put out a quality product, right? But the consumer wins, and when the consumer wins, that's good for
It'll just
everybody.
snowball.
I think that's, that's where the opportunity was. Like, we knew that, okay, we're no longer going to get these American products, at least not at affordable prices.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of products, American products, which are honestly amazing, which we just don't have access to here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and if you wanted to buy them, they're super unaffordable. Right. And so we knew, okay, like, this is our time sort of to strike. We have this new innovative patented product, but it doesn't make us any money, right? But it's a great product.
Right.
And like, hey, let's capitalize, right? And let's just, if we're going to do it, let's go all the way in. And so we started developing like crazy. And I'm really proud that, like, we've been accepted the way we have, and that we have this good value product. I think that's, like you were saying, it's true. We're trying to find good value for the customers, and I think we did it.
I think the other big thing too,
with this collection.
I think saying like having an affordable product, an item like that, word spreads, you're getting on the radar, you're getting noticed, and then as you're building and gaining that traction, well then it's like, oh, now we've released this item, and things continue to grow. Oh, now we release this item, and now we're getting into this, and just
That's
like
right.
it just totally mushrooms, right? As you're moving forward and whatnot. Like, say for example, you look at First Light. First Light was strictly like big game hunting. And now they've kind of dabbled into like the waterfowl. Sorry, I'm fighting something here. They've gotten into the waterfowl stuff, and now like a turkey vest. So like, it's just another stone in the pot, and like it allows you to branch out, and then obviously make you more successful.
And I think that's the goal. I think that's how a successful brand continues to survive, right? You don't jump in, you don't cannonball into the pool. You gotta be very strategic, and you've gotta, okay, we're gonna launch this first. And then when we can put enough money to the side off the first idea, then we're going to jump into the second idea and the third and stuff. So I know before we hit the record button, you said you were going to tell us about a new product. Now, if you don't want to do that on air where everybody can see it, then that's
Damien,
fine. We can do it offline.
My word is my word.
There you go. But before we go into the new product, though, and I am very excited to know about the new product. I would like it if you could show the roll, because I know you got it there with you, but show a roll top bag, because I know what a roll top bag is. Show the duffel bag and then the gun case if you can, just to show everybody.
I don't have all these.
Oh, no? Okay.
No, but I will show you what I got, and then I will share with you what's new.
Okay.
And I just wanted to add, everything does take a lot of testing. Like these bags we've been working on for almost 2 years. The shoe covers, this is really? 4 years ago we started this idea.
Seriously, 4 years.
Like, yeah, it's not like we come up with a sample and then like we put it to market. You have to, there's so much testing, there's so much improvements that go down. It takes about a year of sampling back and forth, and sometimes the stupidest little things, that you have to fix before you go into production. Absolutely. This is one of our backpacks. This is our waterfowl line.
Yep.
So great for bringing into your blind when it's wet. We just went snow goose hunting last week. Yeah. And we had like all of our gear out with us, and these things, they really are a difference, especially for your spring hunts. Yeah. When it's super wet out. Wet and muddy. I actually wore my shoe covers, and I really wanted to test them in that super wet condition. They worked perfect. But this was great because we had our drone with us, we had our cameras with us and stuff. And all of our bags are really based around the roll top concept.
Yep.
So, which is a completely waterproof and submersible concept. Just the way that the nylon catches each other once you roll it over
That's right.
4 times nice and tight.
Yep.
The water doesn't get through. So you have a bag like this. This is 30 liters. Comes in the black and also in that dark green that you saw.
Olive drab.
That dark sort of forest green, which I love. I love that color.
I do
the
too.
The black is cool because it's a little bit sleek.
You mean the color's similar to this?
Full waterproof.
Yeah.
Very similar. I thought that was our bag for a second.
I did too. I was like, how the fuck did you get a bag
know people.
already?
But I'm sending you guys a care package. Anyways, this is our 30 liter bag. Fits plenty. Has a laptop holder inside. Just yeah. Not that you want to bring your laptop into the blind, but
we need to edit photos on the fly for the gram.
But
see how it like holds the air.
Here's the other thing with roll top bags that and I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence here, but in the boat and you have a roll top bag and I'm not saying that this is all you need for safety equipment, but it is buoyant and it will
it's
help
completely
you.
buoyant.
So it is a tool to use. I do not want to see a fucking lawsuit of somebody saying that Damian Pittman said all you need is a Nature Tracks bag and you won't drown. That's not what I'm saying. But it is another piece of kit that you can remain buoyant with if something happens if you go overboard.
In addition to a life jacket.
There you go, Philly. Thanks, Philly. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
I keep up the adequate.
Yeah. At least your $2,000 shotgun's gonna float if your canoe goes over, right?
That's right. And if you've ever been in a canoe with me, that is a serious consequence that will likely happen.
But yeah, these roll top bags they're common as is without all the bells and whistles. So I'm sure everybody has like one of these like sea to summit type bags. These basically like canoe camping bags. Which is like a raw version of what this is, right? Like our whole line, if you think of it, like even the shotgun case is just a glorified canoe camping roll top bag, right?
Yeah.
But what we've done is we realized you can heat seal accessories onto them, right? So there's no actual real stitching. What we do is we stitch, say like this pocket, because I was like, you got to have a water bottle pocket. We stitch it onto another piece of this 500 denier nylon, and then we heat seal this to the bag. So boom, that's one accessory. And the heat seal's strong. It's bonded.
It's like welded.
It comes one material. It's welded. So there's actually no chance of it peeling off. Same thing with these clips where you can technically clip your game on with your carabiners or whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, they're all just like accessories on a classic dry pack. And it's the same thing with the shotgun case. It was just a roll, like we took that same roll top concept, but we put in that life jacket foam material, and then boom, you have a waterproof floatable gun bag.
And then is there an exhaust port on the gun bag too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, another important and for fellas that do a lot of traveling, different environments, you'll appreciate the importance of that exhaust escape, for lack of a better term. No, that vent. Yeah. Okay. So on to the new stuff, Harry. On to the new stuff, buddy.
Okay.
All right. Not seen anywhere else. This is the first time you're seeing it.
No.
Or hearing about it.
I hope I don't get in trouble, but no, it's okay.
Whatever.
So, yeah. So, we had.
Yep.
We have the anise version. We have the vanilla, and we have an unscented.
Yep.
And these were great. Anise is probably one of those versatile attractants. We got a lot of feedback from trappers. Like the head of the National Trappers Association was like, "This is amazing because almost it's such a natural."
I didn't even
A
think about.
natural thing, I guess, in the wild that like, deer aren't spooked, moose aren't spooked, bears. It's just so versatile. So anise has been our number one seller by
So here's a
far.
question for
Very
the millions and millions of listeners and viewers.
I think that's Phil's going to ask
What
my
the
question. Go
heck
for
is anise?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking hell. It's like, well, to say, I guess like vanilla is like a bean. It's like a star
Yep.
fruit almost.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It smells like black licorice. That's what it is. It's
Oh,
black
okay.
licorice. It smells like my grandmother. Well, I don't want to insult my grandmother. It smells like a grandmother. But it's basically like black licorice, and it's so pungent. And because we're using a natural extract, I guess this is why it's been so popular, because this is like one of the oldest techniques, attractants.
I never
like
even
traditional
thought about.
attractants.
I never even thought about the fur harvesters, like the trappers.
Yeah.
I never even thought about them. Like that would be a game changer for
Well, you
those
look
guys.
at like what
Yeah.
I've seen some of the videos, like guys doing like coyote trapping and stuff. And like gloved up, they're like feathering dirt with a branch, like
That's what I mean. Like the successful fur harvesters, and I'm not experienced in fur harvesting, but I do know like for fox and marten and some of those other ones, like,
Crazy.
you've got to be like, you got to have your shit wired tight in order to get those. So anything,
Not to get sidetracked, but those marten are gnarly little critters.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, man. It's like a Wolverine, that thing. It's insane.
It is, and they're one of the smartest animals out there, right? Like to trap a marten. Not that I have an extensive trapping experience, but I did try it with some friends when we were in high school. We were unsuccessful.
your trapping consists of
but
mice.
that was what. No, we tried to get. We were after fox and what. It was mostly fox, mink, and marten was mostly what we were after. We didn't have like, there was no coyote or nothing around then. But the old fellas told us, they used to laugh at us every day. We'd come back and we wouldn't have anything, and they were like, "Boys, you better have your shit wired tight if you think you're going to catch a fox or a marten, because they're just so smart, right?"
Cagey.
Yeah. So, without further delay, let me.
Yeah,
I feel
sorry.
like we got sidetracked.
Yeah,
Common occurrence, Harry.
Fuck, we're yeah, it is common here.
So we had this anise, and this was like our by far number one, as well as the unscented was pretty popular. And we had a lot of, when we were at the show, at all these shows, we did the Saint Hyacinthe show, the Quebec show, the Toronto show. There were all these, how do I call them? Like scent attracting companies, right? They have the Goop and whatnot.
Okay.
And they're selling anise, and they're selling, whatever it is, like maple syrup mix. And they had the top seller were the moose urine and deer urine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then someone was telling me that the moose industry is actually where the most of the customer money is spent, right? Because for deer hunting, kind of anybody can go in their backyard, right? If they have their own private land.
Yeah.
You don't need such high-end gear, let's say. But for the moose hunt, they take it really serious, and you really have to be out in the shit and have the right gear. So they, people drop a lot on their moose on their moose gear.
I believe
and they were telling me the figures of what they sell with this moose urine, and it's incredible. It's like
really,
it's just like a huge business. Like,
wow.
One of these little moose urine jars,
Yeah.
I think it costs a customer like $40-$50. And they sell, tons of it.
Wow.
It's like gold. It's worth its weight in gold, right? So we met up with this company, Extreme CG. who was friends with our distributors, and we'd been talking to them. We said, like, is it like, I don't even know what it was made out of, right? I was like, maybe we can put this into our shoe covers, and I was asking if they'd be interested, and it took a little bit of convincing, but I think they were down, and eventually they gave us this big tub of moose urine and deer urine, synthetic,
Yeah.
which ended up just being like, it's like a mineral oil
Based.
formula, right? So it's actually like not that complex, but man, this stuff smells like piss. Right? So I was like, this is the real deal. And they were trying to not that it was such an issue, but because it's worth its weight in gold, like a little thing like this. He was like, oh, well, I'll give it to you, but it's $300 you owe me. Right? I was like,
Oh, wow.
fuck. But we finally got our hands on this liquid gold, and we sent it to our factory, and like we had to go through like customs, and it was a nightmare. And finally, we have our first samples coming next week. But we have a new moose urine and deer urine scent coming in the in the shoe covers, which I think is going to be a breakthrough type of product. We also have a pine scent for people who want to which is going to use like natural pine oil.
Yeah.
For people who just want to mask their smell, maybe like a little bit better than just the unscented.
What about cedar?
At least a little something. It's cedar. That's what it is. It's like a pine cedar.
Because who doesn't love the smell of cedar?
Well,
yeah.
I kind
I'm
of
just hoping it's real cedar oil, right? Which makes the success, because if they give me like air freshener, I think it's I'm waiting for the samples.
It's I don't know. It always blows my mind, and I really do want to give the attention to the idea and the execution of the idea, because I don't think people, and again, I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence. I just don't. I think people look at products and they go, "Oh man, that's what a great idea that was. That's so simple." But yet nobody really pays attention to the risk that's involved, the back and forth, I have no idea what I'm getting involved in, and you're just rolling with the punches, and shit, I need a lawyer? What? A patent?
Yeah.
How do I get a patent? And it's all these things. And if there's anybody that's listening, and you are on the precipice of becoming an entrepreneur, becoming somebody that wants to bring an idea, just don't give up. It's not going to be easy, which Harry will attest to. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I think that's where you see people that I'll use the word fail, but fail is a strong word. But that's where they give up, is that it takes longer than what they anticipated. Sure, you can have a horseshoe up your ass and go viral, and somebody buys all your shit right off the bat. But 99% of the time, it's a hustle. Like you are you are on the hustle.
It's a marathon, not a race.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
for sure.
100%.
I think like my background in shoe designing and buying and manufacturing really helped, because I knew that there was this process, and I kind of knew how to handle talking with the factories. But to give you an example, it might sound so easy to make synthetic doe urine with the rubber shoe cover, just mix it in and then inject it. But it's not easy, because you need the right formula, right? The right amount of liquid, right? And that, when we had to prove it to the patent office, it reminded me of just how annoying it was to get it right. Because if you put too much oil, it breaks down the compounds.
Yeah.
And your shoe cover just like dissolves. So like our first ones, they would like melt on your foot, and you need just the right amount to make it so that it smells strong, but it doesn't break down the
That's
Then
crazy.
you're
the
disrupting
rubber
the
compound.
chemical balance of the liquid rubber.
Yeah.
Philly. Hey, in case you didn't know, Philly is
Biochemist.
he's a biochemist now. He is an author, former guide,
All
and
around
now he's a
swell guy.
chemist.
But yeah, like the rubber,
Harry,
the rubber is the
buddy.
rubber. It is what it is. Like it's taken God
That's
knows
right.
how many formulas and this and that to come up with that stuff. And now you just magically introduce something else. Like it doesn't work that way. Like X, Y, and Z is what makes the rubber. Now you're adding A and B to it, and you just completely discombobulate it.
And
then to do it at scale, right?
Right.
That was.
And then that's all just a balancing act after that, Harry? Like you're just, I'm introducing this, so now I need to do this to counteract what the other thing is doing.
And you have to wash the injection machines like really with like chemicals and things like that, because then like our vanilla was smelling like anise, because like the first pairs, right? Like all these little issues we found out so fast, and man,
We did not
you have to
see
be
that
detailed.
coming.
You have to,
Yeah.
But we caught on to it fast, and that's why, like, my factory there, my guy Leo, I have so much trust in him because he picked up on that right away,
Right.
But that could have just screwed us so hard.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, can you imagine? Like if I don't know
We
what
got
you
rid of
order,
like
but let's
400
say you
of them.
had 10,000 units show up. 10,000 units that are not smelling the way they're supposed to smell. That's like that could fucking break a company, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge hit.
That's wild, man. It is a huge hit, and Harry, man, like fuck, we're an hour already, and I haven't even really got a chance to really ask you all the questions that I wanted to ask you, like, because we've spent so much time on the the design and to get the product to market and stuff, and I just think you're gonna here's my, this is what I do, this is my thing. You're just gonna have to come back on the show again and talk about this is what I do.
Maybe I could bring some team members with me.
Yeah. No,
because
absolutely.
I'm good at my one thing, but then if you want to hear the marketing side, there's Daphne. If you want to hear the sales side, the hell of the sales side, you speak to Spiros, and operations, boots on the ground. There's Julian. So there's Julian's.
I got
great.
the chance to chat to Spiros at the show. That man can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Oh yeah, like he's very, very passionate. No, and it would be good if you had the entire team on and to get everybody's sort of kind of outlook on their particular piece of the pie, right? Like it really would be cool. And I get this sense that you guys are just a close-knit crew that have an extreme amount of trust in each other, and you're a team, and being a team, you'll accomplish it. Not without its struggles, but you'll get it, right. And dude, like I love the idea. I love the fact that you're Canadian. I love the fact that you haven't quit, you haven't given up. You see, hey, we could do this. It's going to take some work, and I think you've surrounded yourself with some great people. So I just think success is coming your way, and
Thank you, man.
yeah, and it's not going to happen overnight, but for anybody that, Harry is going to send some stuff out to us, and if you see me along the way, and Phil, and Craig, you see us on the way, just ask us, because we'll have that stuff with us, and you can get it and touch it, feel it, and get intimate with it, and you'll be able to see just exactly what the hype is, because I love it, man. It's waterproof, and I love the process that you've went through in order to get it.
Thank you. I want to hit you guys with that promo code. Which,
yeah. I'm gonna write that down because I'll put that in the social media posts.
So I put it valid until the 1st, but I can extend it out
The 1st
of June.
Okay, so
it gave the weekend, but should we extend it a little?
Yeah, probably extend it until the 8th, which would be the following Monday, only because this show will go live on the 1st, on Monday.
Okay. Deal.
So give it a week, and then that'll give a week of people to get their stuff in. So 7:00 on Monday morning is when the show will go out across all the podcasts and YouTube software.
Okay. Really simple. The code is pre-order 20, and you get 20% off everything. Yeah, we'll give it for until the 8th.
Okay.
8th at midnight, and just for you guys and your audience. That's technically
amazing,
anybody
right?
can use the code, but it'll only be marketed through your guys' channels. So
that's amazing.
A little
buddy.
gift.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I'll send you guys obviously like a care kit so you can test it, and then give me all the terrible feedback.
I will run this stuff through the
put the product to the test.
Yeah, no, buddy, I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate you coming on the show and taking time, and I really do appreciate the promo code for everybody that they can, 20% is more than taxes, right? So that's a significant savings in my opinion. So I really do hope, and offline I hope you can tell me when the promo is over. I'm hoping that the Punisher Waterfowl family comes together and buys a shit ton of stuff from you guys. I really do.
Because we can't give these promos once the retailers have it. Like,
that's
it's
right.
a little more difficult. So
that's right.
This is our chance. We have a week before we deliver to all the retailers, and your fans will get this.
This is your only opportunity, folks.
You know what?
Limited time deal.
No, but that's a really good point that you bring up, because once it goes to retailers, you can't be underselling the retailers, because then that just makes a bad relationship between you and the retailers, right?
That's it. So we got a week.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome, buddy. Okay, let's do a quick around the table. Philly, to you, my man.
It's great having you on. It's glad this finally worked out, and we touched base at the show there, and you guys were definitely hyped up about coming on. We're glad we got to make it work, and really looking forward to testing these bags out. Like, as few know, I'm heading out west this fall for a big 10-day trip to Saskatchewan. Hopefully get some content and stuff, and get some pics and stuff of your stuff through at the fall, and throw you some content, and hope these bags blow up the market for you.
I appreciate that, man. And I don't know if it's my turn, but I just want to thank Damien and Phil for having me, and just and meeting you guys and putting me on. Like, when you're starting off, to have these opportunities to be heard, and to be seen, and to have guys like you just open your your platforms to little guys like us. It means the world, and I just really appreciate it, and hoping I can pay it back with free gear. But hopefully, next time you're in Montreal, love to take you guys hunting. Anytime you're in Quebec, that would really be something if we can get together and do a duck hunt.
Do you go to the Montreal Skeet Club, the one that's Carl Zeff?
Yeah.
So I know Ellie and Carl. I've been at their skeet club. So
they sell our product there.
Really?
As our first customer.
Oh wow. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll, because they have a great I forget what it's called. It's like the 9-gun station or some friggin' thing they've got there.
It's so sick there.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do a trip down there and come down and do some skeet with you, because I loved it. That's a great club. Great club.
Let's do it.
And Carl's a great dude. So is Ellie. So
Yeah, he's the best. He pulled me out of a ditch once.
Really?
Funny enough. Yeah, I I was bringing my girlfriend to the shooting range for the first time, and I took the wrong turn, and I ended up in a snowmobile trail. It just looked like just the biggest duster.
Put it right in the cabbage.
And
That's
he came along, in his truck and strapped a chain to it, pulled me out. Thank God for him.
yeah.
So he's a legend
Yeah.
in my books.
No doubt. Harry, buddy, thank you for coming on. At some point in the very, very near future, you're
Yes.
going to be so much bigger than what we are. And I hope that you don't forget about us, because I do see some very, very, very big things coming your way, because I think you guys just have the great and the right attitude in order to succeed in this world. It was an honor to have you on the show. I know we didn't give you a whole lot of notice. I don't even think it's been 24 hours since Phil reached out to you to get you to come on tonight. So I appreciate you coming on. Please know that you do not have to send us anything. Just you coming on the show and sharing with us is more than what we could ever ask for. And please keep doing what you're doing. If there's ever anything that we can do that can help you guys, all you have to do is ask. And if we can do it, we're going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 228 of the Union 0430 podcast. We're not experts. We'll never pretend to be. We're just a bunch of friends that love hanging out, talking anything duck hunting, which we didn't do a lot of tonight, but we'll pick it up. Big love. Surround yourself with good people. Until next time.